Hello, YouTube. It's M16 Freak here with MacBoy Pro and E Faust. We're gonna be doing a little Let's Talk Battlefield Hardline here, and we're gonna discuss Battlefield Hardline and the future of Battlefield 4. So, without further ado, let's get into our first impressions.
So if I'll go first, great game overall. I love the gameplay so far. I love the fast-paced gameplay and how it just sort of flows. Time to kill might be a little too fast, especially
hmm
on certain weapons, but that's could be balancing issues. Uh, I think just getting all my words out real quick. The grenades, like the range on them, either needs to be lowered or the time until they explode needs to be increased. Because I can't
hmm
get around a corner fast enough to escape a grenade by the time it's landed at my feet.
Yep.
Right. I definitely like the gunplay better. Battlefield 4 felt like I was kind of fighting for my kills, I guess you could say. Felt like, I was fighting both the recoil of my weapon and fighting the physics of the game just to get a kill. And so
Wait,
this
so in a
feels a little bit more.
in a first-person shooter, you want to fight for your kill?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like because in Battlefield 4, like if you get the jump on somebody, you still haven't guaranteed yourself a kill.
Right.
yeah.
Because you could sit there and dump a mag or half a mag into them or near them, I guess,
Well,
in
that's
Battlefield
what
4, because you miss 90% of your shots.
Well, with the
Um,
time to kill thing is, I mean, it's really fast, but I mean, you pretty much have guaranteed yourself a kill if you get the jump on someone.
right. Which I have to say, Battlefield Hardline definitely feels an improvement. Eric, what are your impressions?
Overall, I think it's a great game. Like Nathan said, like MacBoy Pro said, I like the gunplay. It's very fast paced, and I enjoy that. That's one of the things that I enjoyed from COD that Battlefield 4 did not deliver to me. And yeah,
Well, I
that's
think we
pretty
can
much.
take half of that to the fact that it's going to be smaller maps. It's not giant
hmm
tank warfare. So I mean, if we
Yeah.
have faster gunplay, maybe it's okay. Maybe
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's something different. I mean, it's not your average Battlefield game. So
Yep.
Well, they take more of a smaller scale competitive approach to the game, and honestly, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I'm kind of used to the whole large scale battlefield. You know, you're running along and a tank flies across the
Yeah.
map or whatever. A helicopter comes in and shoots you. This is more about honestly getting the kills rather than playing the objective half the time.
well,
Except heist mode. Heist mode does really
Yeah.
heist mode
really run
you
that
have to
whole.
play the objective, but there are some people that I have noticed that will they treat it as TDM.
Yeah, just turns into a big team deathmatch, and I find that kind of annoying. I mean, it's a lot better when you actually play the objective and deliver the package in heist mode and get it over with because it goes faster. You can play more.
Well,
Um,
right, and there's a huge incentive for delivering the package because I mean it's 1,000 points,
yeah,
and
yep,
Right.
also I
and then
mean there's huge advantages for like getting on the dropped packages. I mean it's 500, and I've even gotten 750
yeah,
with like boosts,
yep,
with like score boosts. I mean you get like up to 750 for returning a package. I mean that's a big like part of the team play initiative I think that they were going for with Battlefield 4.
And so while we're on the topic of points, leveling up is a little too easy, I'd have to
yeah,
say.
I
Um,
think that they might be slowing it down for the actual game. It was probably just a gimme for the beta, but
yeah. I think while I'm
right.
while in Battlefield 4, I'm only level like 65 or
right.
whatnot, and that took me like 300 or not 300, like 150 hours of gameplay to get there. While getting to level 50 on hardline, or at least in the beta, was it took me like 20 hours of gameplay,
Well,
maybe even
right,
a
but I
little
mean
more.
also you have to take into effect that like not saying anything about you personally,
Oh yeah, yeah,
but I mean like I have 115 hours I think logged, and I'm level 108.
yeah,
I mean,
And then me, I have like 300 plus hours logged, and I'm a level like 98.
yeah,
But most of my time spent was getting kills. But
yeah,
so that may be a give me the whole okay. We're just gonna let them level up faster in the beta. Also, I'm not sure if they're going to add more weapons because there's very small set of stuff that you need to work to earn, honestly.
Right.
And
Well, you
so
realize that like once you get like, I mean, I just throwing it in there. I love the M16A3. It is back. The king is back. I mean, but I have no incentive to buy other things because I've pretty much got my setup for my M16. I've got it
Yep.
gold. I'm
Yep.
good to go.
right, right, and
But
so I
so
can
I
see
mean,
how that.
I'm sitting on 200K with inside my wallet, and I've got nothing to spend. I'm just buying RPGs and stuff for cars.
Yeah.
Right. And so the way I foresee that happening is it's just going to run very, very boring really quick. I mean, I think at some point players are just going to kind of get bored with the game. And I think that's one thing that Battlefield 4 kind of gave us was it kind of gave us something to work for. It kind of gave us something to continue to strive for, getting the next gun, getting all the guns with the expansions. And who knows, they might add guns with expansions, but
Yeah.
with the whole cops and robbers theme, they're very limited to realistic weapons to give the cops and to give the robbers. I mean, you're not going to see robbers running around with like Ace series weapons or A91s or anything. Those are military weapons. You're
Right.
not very likely to have those.
Well, maybe
So-
they'll add something like maybe they'll go along the lines of an AR-15 or something a
Yeah.
consumer, an average American like could buy.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I think that's what the RO93 or
Well, the
93 was supposed to
RO93,
be.
it's an M4.
Probably more close to an AR.
Well, maybe.
But I get what you're saying. I mean, that fills that AR role. Something that Battlefield 4 definitely is gonna that probably gonna draw me back to Battlefield 4 is it seems less predictable.
right.
Going through Hardline, I could pretty much predict everything that's going to happen. I kind of know where to go, kind of know what's going to happen. So much in the fact that I could set up, particular points to walk to or run to ambush some guys coming in. And so that repetitiveness is going to get real old real fast. I mean, we're kind of mesmerized by it right now because it's the beta and it's still
It's
new.
beta
But
goggles.
right, pure goggles.
Yeah.
And we're not even 100 hours into the game. I can see that this game's gonna get old real fast, and we're gonna be like, wow, this is kind of like, it seems like a mod. Seems like I didn't need to really spend $60 on this game.
Right.
One of my big things is I've watched a few like of the short 10-minute like campaign gameplay like I don't know sneak peeks, and I just find it really entertaining. And I think that's one of the things is I feel like this Hardline it might lack in like the multiplayer. I mean, the multiplayer is fun, but I feel like they're gonna try to get a really captivating story. It just interests me.
Which would be a first for a Battlefield game in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You'll-
Battlefield 3 had a really crazy story. I didn't really quite know what was going on through. Honestly, the story was just kind of like, hey, let's teach you how to play Battlefield.
Well, and 4 was a gimmick. It was a gimmick that was made in a weekend before launch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, multiplayer, that's really what draws people to Battlefield. And I see what Eric, you're trying to say there with that, hey, maybe the story is going to make up for it. But
Yeah.
I can just see that, I mean, unless they do some major additions to the game.
Well, what I've seen is that there's going to be 9 more maps and 7 more, or there's going to be 9 maps at launch and 7 game modes to play. So there will be a lot to do, from what I've heard and what I've read.
Well, and coming from EA, we all know that premium's on its way. They're going to have
Yep.
their extra maps. They're going to probably have their extra guns or whatever.
Hmm.
Right.
And
Right.
I mean, that's just a given with the Battlefield titles. But I mean, behind that, I do see that they're shooting for this competitive game mode sort of thing, and which I'm fine with. I mean, Battlefield 4 was very relaxed. Rush is almost like their best chance at a competitive game mode, and it's impossible to play because even with the redesigns of the maps, I mean, some of them are just horrible.
Yeah.
Right, which brings us to the future of Battlefield 4. Now, a while ago, I kind of proposed a theory that Battlefield 4 is only going to get better because of Hardline. because I think a lot of people went to Battlefield 4 looking for hardline in it. Honestly, this competitive, fast-paced shooter that's going to give you more of a, I'm going to say Call of Duty feel, kind of more, let's run around and shoot people, maybe grab a few objectives here and there.
Yeah.
I think that the really loyal Battlefielders, the ones that play it a little differently than most people, I think they're going to stick with Battlefield 4, and I think it's only going to get better. I think we're going to start seeing some better gameplay out of Battlefield 4. And what EA said was, Hardline's not meant to replace Battlefield 4. It's meant to go side and side with it. Now,
Right.
that might just be a whole, like, oh, well, you know what? We're probably not going to make a whole lot of money off Hardline, or maybe it's going to be not so good of a game that we're going to need to run both and support both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they exactly meant by that, but, you know.
Well, I mean, we still have the CTE, and so that'll still be improving Battlefield 4. We still
Yep.
have the community DLC that they've talked about, which I can't wait for. Bring back
Right.
the M16A3, please, please, please. I'm sorry, I'm beta goggled on that just
Yeah.
alone.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And like I said, I mean, it does seem a little bit more balanced. From looking back at Battlefield 3, I mean, most of the weapons were just completely unusable. Battlefield 4 got better, then they decided to up the amount of bullets that it would take to kill somebody, which was kind of their crappy solution for fixing
The netcode.
Yeah. That was a bad move. So when they went to Battlefield Hardline, it doesn't feel like I'm dumping a mag into somebody to kill them. Now it does
Yeah.
kind of get ridiculous at range.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like I have to super tap fire if not put it in
Well,
single shot, which
we
is
are-
realistic. Is realistic, honestly. But I mean, come on,
Right,
it's
but
a
I mean-
it's a fast-paced competitive shooter. Why are we looking for realism in that? You know?
Yeah.
We know that they were taking their own attempt at fixing the visual recoil that Battlefield 4 had, but they realized that it was a mistake. They've addressed it. And they've already said that they're going to take the change from the CTE version, which we have now in Battlefield 4, and we're adding that to the current edition of Hardline. So we're
Yeah.
gonna not have so much recoil. The RO933 is not going to be completely useless at the beginning.
Yeah.
But at least at
Well,
range.
I think right, and I think the reason why they made it so crappy is because they wanted to avoid what happened with Battlefield 4, where everybody's running around with AK-5Cs at like a level 125. Yeah,
Yeah.
that gets kind of ridiculous because I mean, hey, you know what? It was a good thought.
Mhm.
Hey, let's give the noobs some good weapons to use so they can get up there and they'll start getting more weapons and maybe move on. The problem is if you give it good gun early on, they're just going to stick with that, and then it gets kind of ridiculous and kind of OP later on in the game when they're
Right,
running
well, I
around,
mean,
you know.
my favorite gun, pretty much in Battlefield 4, is the M416. They give you that. I believe it's either the second or the third unlock for the assault class.
Right.
And I mean, that gun is like, it's not like its firing rate or anything's overpowered. It's just a great versatile gun, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk shotguns then while we're on the subject of,
Oh my
of
gosh.
guns.
Oh.
God, I think they went a little too far with shotguns. I mean, they're almost impossible to outmatch close range, which, yet again, realistic. But then I got people who are trying to shoot me with a shotgun from across the buildings.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm glad that it doesn't really do anything to me, but then do we really have these kind of idiots running around that are trying to shoot people with shotgun from across the map? Is that really what they think shotguns do? I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
I
the
mean-
range on it is like, it's too much, and for the time to kill being increased like across everything, we just have they're just overpowered in close quarter combat.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, I mean, what MacBoy Pro says, they need to either seriously nerf them or rethink kind of the whole shotgun thing in this, which I get it. There's going to be your players out there that are going to want shotguns. I mean, you got to reach all markets, but then this honestly, I feel, comes to the point that they're kind of favoring shotguns over any other gun.
Mhm.
I mean, because I sat there and I dumped 15 rounds into a guy with my M16A3, and then he just turns around and one shots me with the shotguns. Like, I don't know who you are, but you get shot with 15 5.56 rounds, you're definitely not going to be turning around and shooting someone with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. And I feel that there needs to be some kind of, if they're under suppression or if they're taking too many damage, they should not be as effective with a shotgun
Right.
because there has to be a way to balance it out. Because right now it's too ridiculous.
Right, and we don't have to deal with the optics way or anything like that's ridiculous from Battlefield 4 with the suppression, which I'm glad they fixed suppression because it was just horrible. You could barely
Yeah.
get your shot off while just
The
in
only
combat.
the only time I really seemed to end up getting suppressed and my screen would blur is when snipers kept just firing to the side of me and not hitting me. It just kept whizzing by my head. That was the only time.
You're talking in hardline, right?
Yes.
Right. Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah, then we
turned
can talk-
into a visual thing,
Yeah.
which I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah, let's talk snipers while we're on that too. Sniper rifles. I mean, maybe it's just this whole like you were saying the beer goggles with it. They gave them a Scout Elite with a straight pull right out the door for the beta. That is
Yeah.
not the best way you want to introduce snipers because those things are just like
Right, they can
one shot
they
after
can
the other
almost
and
outgun us with our M16s.
M16s.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, come on, guys. This is kind of ridiculous. I mean, you're just perpetuating the idea of the lone wolf sitting on top of a building, not doing anything for their team, and just picking off targets for kills.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was a well recognized issue with Battlefield 4.
Right. But I mean, with the close quarter gameplay, I mean, close quarter hit with a sniper rifle, it usually is like what sort of round. It's a pretty big round.
7.62 or 308? Yeah,
Right.
they're about
It's
the
gonna drop a person or at least put him down. But I mean, we are talking. This is a video game. Realism
Yep.
is like can kind of be thrown out the window. But with that, I mean, I think it's too much too fast. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like the Scout
Yeah.
Elite is underrated because I played with it. It is better. But we do like giving them straight out of the boat is, I mean, they're unloading faster than like you can almost suppress them or get them scared enough to go hide around a corner.
Yeah.
right. And I mean, I get it that that's gonna, try to persuade some players to do some more realistic cover-to-cover tactics. Great. I don't think making a weapon overly OP is the way to get players to play a game in a particular way.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. I feel this game should be that kind of Call of Duty fix for those that are out there that want to play, their Call of Duty type game from Battlefield with all that, helicopters and vehicles running around.
Yeah.
So with Hardline coming out, so it kind of looks like they're doing this whole double whammy thing with Battlefield. That's kind of what EA is trying to do. They're trying to have their competitive side, and then they're going to try having the more, full-scale, all-out war side, which most of us remember from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 2 for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for the future, too, with Battlefield 5, which has been announced, we don't know what it's about, we don't know what it's going to be, I think that it's going to go back to what I remember Battlefield being. So more like Battlefield 2, more like Bad Company, more like Battlefield 3, kind of more like it's about, playing the objective. It's not really much about the weapons. Weapons are nice. It's more about the destruction. It's more about the tactics.
Right.
Which, honestly, I think that's going to be good. So, all in all, I may not get Battlefield Hardline until well late into the game, which, honestly, if the leveling up is the same way, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to really matter. And
Yeah.
if they don't really have that many guns, oh, well. I mean, I can
Right.
just
You farm out
you
your
know.
M16 and then you're good.
real quick. Yeah, and so I guess also that also brings us to the thing, like, there's really no incentive to get it right away.
Right.
Mhm.
Like Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4, you pretty much, like, yeah, you kind of had to get it, pretty quick if you wanted anything that was gonna do any damage. You
Right.
know?
Well, I mean, I've bought the game twice. I've bought Premium twice. I mean,
Yep.
I love Battlefield 4. I played so much of it, but this Hardline has spoken to me in a way that I have bought in the game. I've pre-ordered, which I don't usually do with games.
Yeah.
And I have set aside that because I feel from playing the beta that it's going to be a solid title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to be I mean, it might probably wind up being a pretty solid title, but we have to be wary of that because Battlefield 4 beta seemed pretty solid. It was like, you know what, this is pretty nice. I like what they've done with it, and then they jump in and they just screwed everything up.
Yeah.
Right.
And so let's
But-
hope Visceral has a little bit more 2 cents about them. It doesn't try to apply anything that the PC gamers are out there saying and try to apply them to console because honestly they're two different things. And as a PC gamer and a console gamer, I can say that we have to respect that there's huge differences between console and PC. And when developers are developing patches, fixes, or even just developing games, they need to respect that difference. They can't try pulling what DICE did with Battlefield 4 and just try to make one game fits all kind of thing.
Well, with Battlefield 4, we also were kept in the complete dark for the first, 3 to 4 months. We had no clue what DICE was planning, what they were doing. We had the CEO sitting there just swimming in, what little money we had because the sales tanked. But, I mean, it was silent until, around 6 months in where we finally got, the CTE and stuff, which pretty much saved Battlefield 4. I mean, we're relying on that, but also what we have to take out of it is that beta was live until the day before launch. They weren't taking information or feedback from that beta and using it to develop the game. We the beta ends tomorrow. We have until we've got a good month and a good month. Let's just set it off. We'll say we have a good month for them to take our changes, which, I mean, I've been all over the forums commenting my opinions and stuff, which, I mean, I'm just another voice in the crowd, but I've been making sure my opinion's out there so that they know that I care about this, I want it to be a good title, make these changes, and take my word.
Right. So with this whole thing on changes, I have a friend that actually played the beta, not this beta, but the beta. Yeah, and he said this beta, the one we're playing right now, is a totally different game than the first beta.
Right. I mean, the first beta everybody was talking about, and I mean, I have the first beta on my PS4, but I just didn't have my PS4 in time.
Yeah.
They were talking it was just a reskin of Battlefield 4, which, I mean, I thought, whatever, I like this game. But now that I've experienced this changed up sort of gameplay, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Right. So honestly, I mean, if you're a viewer watching this, you can take what you can out of this. We're just three gaming nerds just kind of rambling, trying to get our thoughts kind of on audio.
Yeah,
but
feel free to
in the
comment.
end,
Yeah.
feel free to comment. In the end, I mean, it's all up to, your personal choice. You don't have to, be a hardcore Battlefielder to play this game, and I kind of feel like, I mean, I might get it later in the game, honestly, but I feel like I'm still gonna get it.
Yeah.
It's still a Battlefield title, still something to play. It's gonna be a lot more popular than Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
But I think I'm still gonna go back to Battlefield 4 in the end.
Yeah. And,
Anyway, so in the end, we're just three gurus just kind of trying to figure our way out through this hard line and trying to figure out what we want to do. You can take out of this what you want. We're just trying to give our opinions out there, and in the end, it's all up to personal choice, all up to personal opinion of how you want to play the game and how everybody else wants to play the game, and if you're willing to put up with that, honestly. So, so this is our first podcast kind of thing. I'd call this a podcast.
This is a podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty long podcast. Anyway, so we'll probably be doing these more in the future. This is Legends of Oros, MacBoy Pro, Eric Faust, and M16 Freak signing off.